Hello. Today I wanted to do a video, and this video is about what happens to the bullies after high school and victimhood culture. I came across a very interesting video by Christopher Hitchens, and he talks about the modern day universities and how the modern day universities are just a breeding ground for what he calls mass infantilionism. These university children, I'd call them children because even though they are technically 30 years old, the mental capacity is of a child. Ben Shapiro once said that if you can, write your own name in America, you can graduate high school, which is very true, and the entire crowd got up and applauded him because what he's saying is true. But the thing about victimhood culture. So my question is, what happens to the bullies after high school? What happens to them? And it's funny because what kids have to understand is in that environment, that stuff is okay, but once they leave the environment, oh boy, does that bullying stuff, it doesn't work. I've seen high school bullies, still 10 years later, still trying to bully me, and it doesn't work. In the real world, you can't bully someone. In that environment, in education, of course you can bully someone if you're a teacher or a student, but once you get into the real world, boy, it doesn't work. And boy, do these people find that out. And why it comes back to my last point is the fact that when these people go out into the real world and they leave that environment of education, the real world just tears them apart. It shows them that what they don't want to hear, which is they're not special. And that's what happens to the bullies after high school. That environment where it's okay to bully some. In the real world, you will meet someone who is bigger than you and who will hurt you. It's like you can go, Sir Isaac Newton has a law. He has the 3 laws of physics. And the last law of physics is every action has an equal and opposite reaction. It's like every time that bully goes out and intimidates someone, one of those people will give them a reaction that they didn't want and it's the opposite of they intended, and it will be humiliating for them, and they have to learn that this is how the real world works. In the real world, when you do things, there are consequences to what you do. In that environment, in education, in high school, there was no consequences for this stuff. You got a slap on the wrist. In the real world, the consequences for that is getting your ass beat. It's getting a girl pulling your hair and dragging to the ground and beating the hell out of you. That's the consequences of this stuff in the real world. And women are not nice fighters. They will pull your hair and put keys in your eyes. And this is what women have to understand. In the real world, this doesn't work. You can't bully people. You can't make these victimhood, false sexual harassment claims in the real world. This doesn't work. And it backfires. So what happens to the bullies? They don't fare well. Oh, they are delusional. And not in a psychotic way, but they are 30 years old, living off of their mama's teat. Never had a real job. A lot of them went on to be rappers. And then a lot of the academically successful kids in my high school, when they went on to the real world, got a job that pays as much as I have, just minimum wage. So these academically successful people realize that academic success, it doesn't translate into real world success either. And who is the person who wins in the real world? The people who, like me, got out of high school. I tried college. I realized that at the time I needed more skills. So what I did was I dropped out and I spent a lot of time working and building skills. And then I went back, and now I'm going back. Because I realized at the time I didn't have the skills, I didn't have a foundation, and if I wanted to be in computer engineering, I had to get a slew of skills before I can do that. And I spent a lot of time working and taking courses to upgrade my skills, so now I can be successful. My point is, the people who go out into the real world and are successful are the people who worked, or the people who learned a trade. I mean, yeah, the people who go to university are successful, but the debt will just cripple them. It will prevent them from getting partners. Nobody will want to be boyfriend, girlfriend with them. Nobody will want to give them a mortgage. It will cripple them financially, and their personal economy will be hurt for the rest of their lives. And this is what people have to understand, that the leftists and the Democrats have been lying to you about the worth of university. I'm not saying the youth of a lot of my friends say, I went to university, I gave up my entire youth for a worthless degree. And yeah, I've been telling them for the past 10 years, they've been lying to you. And, you know, what they say, that the truth is stranger than fiction, and nobody wanted to believe me. And now that they're graduated, they have their degrees, and they see there's no job, now they want to believe me. I've been telling people this for the past 10 years. If you want to get successful, if you want to learn to run your own business, get a job and work. And then once you have that experience, then go run a business. And yes, school is important. But if you're going to spend all that money on school, for example, I'm going to college, it's about $1,600 a semester, which you can save up by working. It's not bad compared to, you know, in the United States where it's like 20 grand per semester. That's a lot of money. That you can't afford that. I can't afford that either. I knew that. However, at some point, college does serve you skills. I come from Canada. I believe in going to college over university because college teaches you skills, and college allows you to go on to work placements. So what happens to the bullies after high school, the conclusion of all this is the fact that they've never learned to try. That artificial environment where they were praised for throwing around a football is now gone. And their futile attempts to bully you have been destroyed. And you just see it in their face, the rage and anger, the disappointment. That they can't do what they used to do, the rage, the anger, the disappointment. It's amazing.